ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaskar, my dear friends. This is video number 23 on the Gospel of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. This video starts with advice to an actor. Saturday, May 24, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the small couch on his room. Rahal M and several other devotees were present. A special worship of Kali had been performed in the temple the previous night. In connection with the worship of a theatrical performance of the Vidya Sundar had been staged in the Nat Mandir. The master had watched a part of it that morning. The actors came to his room to pay him their respects. The master, in a happy mood, became engaged in conversation with a fair complexioned young man who had taken the part of Vidya and played his part very well. Master to the actor: your acting was very good. If a person excels in singing, music, dancing, or any other art, he can also quickly realize God provided he strives sincerely. Just as you practice much in order to sing, dance, and play on instruments, so one should practice the art of fixing the mind on God. One should practice regularly such disciplines as worship, japa, and meditation. Are you married? Any children? Actor: yes, sir, I had a girl who died. Another child has been born. Master: ah, a death and a birth, and also quickly. You are so young. There is a saying, my husband died just after our marriage. There are so many nights for me to weep. You are no doubt realizing the nature of worldly happiness. The world is like a hog plum. The hog plum has only pit and skin, and after eating it, you suffer from colic. You are an actor in the theater, that's fine, but it is a very painful profession. You are young now, so you have a full round face. Afterwards, there will be hollows in your cheeks. Almost all actors become like that. They get hollow cheeks and big bellies. Laughter. Why did I stay to watch your performance? I found the rhythm, the music, and the melody all correct. Then the Divine Mother showed me that it was God alone who acted in the performance in the roles of the players. Actor: sir, what is the difference between lust and desire? Master: lust is like the root of the tree, and desire are branches and twigs. Passions should be directed to God. One cannot completely get rid of the six passions: lust, anger, greed, and the like. Therefore, one should direct them to God. If you must have desire and greed, then you should desire love of God and be greedy to attain Him. If you must be conceited and egotistic, then feel conceited and egotistic, thinking that you are the servant of God, the child of God. A man cannot see God unless he gives his whole mind to Him. The mind is wasted on woman and gold. Take your own case. You have children and are occupied with the theatre. The mind cannot be united with God. on account of these different activities. As long as there is bhoga, there will be less of yoga. Furthermore, bhoga begets suffering. It is said in the Bhagavata that the Avadhuta chose a kite as one of his 24 gurus. The kite had a fish in its beak, so it was surrounded by 1,000 crows. Whichever way it flew with the fish, the crows pursued it, crying, "Cow, cow." When all of a sudden the fish dropped from its beak, the crows flew after the fish, leaving the kite alone. The fish is the object of enjoyment. The crows are worries and anxiety. Worries and anxiety are inevitable with enjoyment. No sooner does one give up enjoyment than one finds peace. Money is the source of trouble. What is more, money itself becomes a source of trouble. Brothers may live happily, but they get into trouble when the property is divided. Dogs lick one another's bodies. They are perfectly friendly, but when the householder throws them a little food, they get into a scrap. Come here now and then, pointing to M and the others. They come here on Sundays and other holidays. Actor, we have holidays for 3 months during the rainy and harvest seasons. It is our good fortune to be able to visit you. On our way to Dakshineswar, we heard of two persons, yourself and Gyananarva. Master, be on friendly terms with your brothers. It looks well. You must have noticed in your theatrical performance that if four singers sing each in a different way, the play is spoiled. Actor, yes, sir. Many birds are trapped in a net. If they all fly together and drag the net in one direction, then many of them may be saved, but that doesn't happen if they try to fly in different directions. One also sees in a theatrical performance a person keeping a pitcher of water on his head and at the same time dancing about. Do your duties and remember God, Master. Live in the world, but keep the pitcher steady on your head. That is to say, keep the mind firmly on God. I once said to the spoys from the barracks, do your duty in the world, but remember that the pestle of death will come. Time smash your hand. Be alert about it. In Kamar Pukur, I have seen the women of carpenter families making flattened rice with a husking machine. One woman kicks the end of the wooden beam, and another woman, while nursing her baby, turns the paddy in the mortar dug in the earth. The second woman is always alert lest the pestle of the machine should fall on her hand. With the other hand, she fries the soaked paddy in a pan. Besides, she is talking with customers. She says, "You owe us so much money. Please pay it before you go." Likewise, do your different duties in the world, fixing your mind on God. But practice is necessary, and one should also be alert. Only in this way can one safeguard both God and the world. Master, proof God can be seen. Be, by practicing spiritual discipline, one sees God through His grace. The rishis directly realize the self. One cannot know the truth about God through science. Science gives us information only about things perceived by the senses. As for instance, this material mixed with that material gives such and such a result, and that material mixed with this material gives such and such a result. For this reason, a man cannot comprehend spiritual things with his ordinary intelligence. To understand them, he must live in the company of holy persons. You learn to feel the pulse by living with a physician. Actor: Yes, sir, now I understand. Master: You must practice tapasya. Only then can you attain the goal. It will avail you nothing even if you learn the text of the scriptures by heart. You cannot become intoxicated by merely saying Siddhi over and over. You must swallow some. One cannot explain the vision of God to others. One cannot explain conjugal happiness to a child 5 years old. Actor: How does one realize the Atma? Just then Rakhal was about to take his meal in the master's room. He hesitated at the sight of so many people. During those days, the master looked on Rakhal as Gopala and on himself as Mother Yashoda. Master to Rakhal: Why don't you eat? Let the people stand aside if you visit. To a devotee: Keep some ice for Rakhal. To Rakhal: Do you intend to go to one Hogli? Don't go in the sun. Rakhal sat down to his meal. Sri Ramakrishna again spoke to the actor: Master, why didn't all of you take your meal from the kitchen of the Kali temple? That would have been nice. Actor: All of us don't have the same opinion about food, so our food is cooked separately. All don't like to eat in the guest house. While Rahal was taking his meal, the master and the devotees sat on the porch and continued their conversation. Means of self realization. Master to the actor: You asked me about self realization. Longing is the means of realizing Atma. A man must strive to attain God with all his body, with all his mind, and with all his speech. Because of an excess of bile on one gets jaundice. Then one sees everything as yellow. One perceives no color but yellow. Among you actors, those who take only the roles of women acquire the nature of a woman. By thinking of woman, your ways and the thoughts become womanly. Just so, by thinking day and night of God, one acquires the nature of God. The mind is like white linen just returned from the laundry. It takes on the color you dip it in. Actor: But it must first be sent to the laundry. Master: Yes, first is the purification of the mind. Afterwards, if you direct the minds to the contemplation of God, it will be colored by God. Consciousness: Again, if you direct the mind to worldly duties, such as the acting of a play, it will be colored by worldliness. Sri Ramakrishna had rested on his bed only a few minutes when Hari, Narayan, Narendra Banerjee, and other devotees arrived from Calcutta and saluted him. Narendra Banerjee was the son of the professor of Sanskrit at the Presidency College of Calcutta. Because of friction with other members of the family, he had rented a separate house where he lived with his wife and children. Narendra was a very simple and guileless man. He practiced spiritual discipline and at the time of meditation heard various sounds, the sounds of a gong, and so on. He had traveled in different parts of India and he visited the master now and then. Narayana was a schoolboy, 16 or 17 years old. He often visited the master who was very fond of him. Hari lived with his brothers at their Bagh Bazar house. He had studied up to the matriculation class in the General Assembly institution. Then he had given up his studies and devoted his time at home to the contemplation of God, the reading of the scriptures and the practice of yoga. He also visited the master now and then. Sri Ramakrishna often sent for Hari when he went to Balram's house in Bagh Bazar. Master to the devotees, I have heard a great deal about Buddha. He is one of the 10 incarnations of God. Brahma is immovable, immutable, inactive, and of the nature of consciousness. When a man merges his buddhi, his intelligence, in Bodha consciousness, then he attains the knowledge of Brahma. He becomes Buddha, enlightened. Langta used to say that the mind merges in the buddhi and the buddhi in bodha, consciousness. The aspirant does not attain the knowledge of Brahma as long as he is conscious of his ego. The ego comes under one's control after one has obtained the knowledge of Brahma and seen God. Otherwise, the ego cannot be controlled. It is difficult to catch one's own shadow. But when the sun is overhead, the shadow is within a few inches of the body. A devotee, what is the vision of God like? Master, have not you seen a theatrical performance? The people are engaged in conversation. When suddenly the curtain goes up, then the entire mind of the audience is directed to the play. The people don't look at other things any longer. Samadhi is to go within oneself like that. When the curtain is rung down, people look around again. Just so, when the curtain of Maya falls, the mind becomes externalized. To Narendra Banerjee, you have travelled a great deal. Tell us some things about the sadhus. Narendra told the story of two yogis in Bhutan who used to drink daily a pound of the bitter juice of neem leaves. He had also visited the hermitage of a holy man on the bank of the Narmada. At the sight of the Bengali Babu dressed in European clothes, the sadhu had remarked, he has a knife hidden under his clothes, next to his belly, keeping the pictures of holy persons. Master, one should keep pictures of holy men in one's room. That constantly quickens divine ideas. Banerjee, I have your picture in my room. Also, the picture of a sadhu living in the mountains, blowing on a piece of lighted charcoal in a bowl of hemp. Master, it is true that one's spiritual feelings are awakened by looking at the picture of a sadhu. It is like being reminded of the custard apple by looking at an imitation one, or like stimulating the desire for enjoyment by looking at a young woman. Therefore, I tell you that you should constantly live in the company of holy men. To Banerjee, you know very well the suffering of the world. You suffer whenever you accept enjoyment. As long as the kite kept the fish in its beak, it was tormented by the flock of crows. One finds peace of mind in the company of holy men. The alligator remains underwater a long time, but every now and then it rises to the surface and breathes with a deep whizzing noise. Then it gives a sigh of relief. Actor, Revered Sir, what you have just said about enjoyment is very true. One ultimately quotes disaster if one prays to God for enjoyment. Various desires come to the mind, and by no means all of them are good. God is the Kalpatru, the wish fulfilling tree. A man gets whatever he asks of God. Suppose it comes to his mind, God is that culp through. Well, let me see if a tiger will appear before me. Because he thinks of the tiger, it really appears and devours him. Master, yes, you must remember that the tiger comes. What more shall I tell you? Keep your mind on God. Don't forget Him. God will certainly reveal Himself to you if you pray to Him with sincerity. Another thing, sing the name of God at the end of each performance. Then the actors, the singers, and the audience will go home with the thought of God in their minds. The actors saluted the master and took their leave. Two ladies, devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, entered the room and saluted the master. They had been fasting in preparation for this visit. They were sisters in law, the wives of two brothers, and were 22 or 23 years old. They were mothers of children. Both of them had their faces covered with veils. Master to the ladies, worship Shiva. This worship is described in a book called the Nitya Karma. Learn the rituals from it. In order to perform the worship of God, you will be preoccupied for a long time with such religious duties as plucking flowers, making sandal paste, polishing the utensils of worship, and arranging offerings. As you perform these duties, your mind will naturally be directed to God. You will get rid of meanness, anger, jealousy, and so forth. When you two sisters talk to each other, always talk about spiritual matters. The thing is somehow to unite the mind with God. You must not forget Him, not even once. Your thought of Him should be like the flow of oil, without any interruption. If you worship with love even a brick or a stone as God, then through His grace you can see Him. Remember what I have just said to you. One should perform such worship as the Shiva Puja. Once the mind has become mature, one doesn't have to continue formal worship for long. The mind then always remains united with God. Meditation and contemplation become a constant habit of mind. Elder sister in law, will you please give us some instruction? Master, affectionately, I don't give initiation. If a guru gives initiation, he must assume responsibility for the disciples' sin and suffering. The Divine Mother has placed me in the state of a child. Perform the Shiva Puja as I told you. Come here now and then. We shall see what happens later on through the will of God. I asked you to chant the name of Hari at home. Are you doing that? Elder sister-in-law, yes, master. Why have you fasted? You should take your meal before you come here. Women are but so many forms of my divine mother. I cannot bear to see them suffer. You are all images of the mother of the universe. Come here after you have eaten, and you will feel happy. Saying this, Sri Ramakrishna asked Ramlal to give the ladies some food. They were given fruit, sweets, drinks, and other offerings from the temple. The master said, "You have eaten something. Now my mind is at peace. I cannot bear to see women fast." It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the steps of the Shiva temples. Adhar, Dr. Nitai, M, and several other devotees were with him. Master to the devotees, I want to tell you something. A change has been coming over my nature. The master came down a step and sat near the devotees. It seemed that he intended to communicate some of his deeper experiences to them. God in human forms. Master, you are devotees. I have no hesitation in telling you this. Nowadays, I don't see the spirit form of God. He is revealed to me in human form. It is my nature to see the form of God, to touch and embrace Him. God is saying to me, you have assumed a body, therefore enjoy God through His human forms. God no doubt dwells in all, but He manifests Himself more through man than through other beings. Is man an insignificant thing? He can think of God, he can think of the infinite, while other living beings cannot. God exists in other living beings, animals, plants, nay, in all beings, but He manifests Himself more through man than through these others. Fire exists in all beings, in all things, but its presence is felt more in wood. Rama said to Lakshmana, look at the elephant, brother. He is such a big animal, but he cannot think of God. Divine incarnation. But in the incarnation, there is a great manifestation of God than in other man. Rama said to Lakshmana, brother, if you see in a man ecstatic love of God, if he laughs, weeps, and dances in divine ecstasy, then know for certain then that I dwell in him. The master remained silent. After a few minutes, he resumed the conversation. Master and Kesab. Master Kesab Sen used to come here frequently. As a result, he changed a great deal. Of late, he became quite a remarkable man. Many a time he came here with his party, but he also wanted to come alone. In the earlier years of his life, Kesab did not have much opportunity to live in the company of holy men. I visited him at his house in Kolutola Street. Herda was with me. We were shown into the room where Kesab was working. He was writing something. After a long while, he put aside his pen, got off his chair, and sat on the floor with us. But he did not salute us or show us respect in any other way. He used to come here now and then. One day, in a spiritual mood, I said to him, one should not sit before a sadhu with one leg over the other. What that increases one's rajas. As soon as he and his friends would arrive, I would salute them before they bowed to me. Thus they gradually learned to salute a holy man, touching the ground with their foreheads. I said to Kesab, chant the name of Hari. In the Kali Yuga, one should sing the name and glories of God. After that, they began to sing the name of God with drums and cymbals. Do you know how my faith in the name of Hari was all the more strengthened? Holy men, as you know, frequently visit the temple garden. Once a sadhu from Multan arrived. He was waiting for a party going to Ganga Sagar, pointing to M. The sadhu was of his age. It was he who said to me, the way to realize God in the Kali Yuga is the path of bhakti as prescribed by Narada. One day, Kesab came here with his followers. They stayed till 10 at night. We were all seated in the Panchavati. Pratap and several others said they would like to spend the night here. Kesab said, no, I must go. I have some work to do. I laughed and said, can't you sleep without the smell of your fish basket? Once a fishwife was a guest in the house of a gardener who raised flowers. She came there with her empty basket after selling fish in the market and was asked to sleep in a room where flowers were kept. But because of the fragrance of the flowers, she could not get to sleep for a long time. Her hostess saw her condition and said, "Hello, why are you tossing from side to side so restlessly?" The fisher wife said, "I don't know, friend. Perhaps the smell of the flowers has been disturbing my sleep. Can you give me my fish basket? Perhaps that will put me to sleep." The basket was brought to her. She sprinkled water on it and set it near her nose. Then she fell sound asleep and snored all night. At this story, the followers of Keshav burst into loud laughter. God, the scripture, and the devotees are identical. Keshav conducted the prayer that evening at the bathing ghat on the river. After the worship, I said to him, "It is God who manifests himself in one aspect as the scriptures. Therefore, one should worship the sacred books such as the Vedas, the Puranas, and the Tantras. In another aspect, he has become the devotee. The heart of the devotee is God's drawing room. One can easily find one's master in the drawing room. Therefore, by worshipping his devotee, one worships God himself." Keshav and his followers listened to my words with great attention. It was a full moonlight. The sky was flooded with light. We were seated in the open court at the top of the stairs leading to the river. I said, "Now let us all chant Bhagavata Bhagata Bhagwan." All chanted in unison, Bhagavata Bhagata Bhagwan. Next I said to them, "Say, Brahma is verily Shakti, Shakti is verily Brahma." Again they chanted in unison, "Brahma is verily Shakti, Shakti is verily Brahma." I said to them, "He whom you address as Brahma is none other than she whom I call Mother. Mother is a very sweet name." Then I said to them, "Say, Guru Krishna Vaishnava." At this, Keshav said, "We must not go so far, sir. If we do that, then all will take us for orthodox Vaishnavas, Brahma and Shakti." I used to tell Keshav now and then, "He whom you address as Brahma is none other than she whom I call Shakti, the primal energy. It is called Brahma in the Vedas when it transcends speech and thought and is without attributes and action. I call it Shakti, Adya Shakti, and so forth. When I find it creating, preserving, and destroying the universe. Are difficulties of householder's life. I said to Keshav, it is extremely difficult to realize God while leading a worldly life. How can a typhoid patient be cured if he is kept in a room where tamarind, pickle, and jars of water are kept? Therefore, one should go into solitude now and then to practice spiritual discipline. When the trunk of a tree becomes thick and strong, an elephant can be tied to it, but a young sapling is eaten by cattle. That's why Keshav would say in his lectures, "Live in the world after being strengthened in spiritual life." To the devotees, you see, Keshav was a great scholar. He lectured in English. Many people honored him. Queen Victoria herself talked to him. But when Keshav came here, he would be bare-bodied and bring some fruit, as one should when visiting a holy man. He was totally free from egotism. To Aadhar, you are a scholar and a deputy magistrate, but with all that you are hand-packed. Go forward beyond the forest of sandalwood. There are many more valuable things: silver mines, gold mines, diamonds, and other gems. The woodcutter was chopping wood in the forest. The brahmachari said to him, "Go forward." Sri Ramakrishna came down from the steps of the Shiva temple and went to his own room through the courtyard. The devotees were with him. Just then Ram Chatterjee came and said that the Holy Mother's attendant had had an attack of cholera. Ram to the master, "I told you about it at 10 o'clock this morning, but you did not pay any attention to me. Master, what could I do?" Ram, yes, what could you do? But there were Rakhal, Ramlal and others, even they did not pay any attention. M. Kisori has gone to Alambaza to get medicine. Master, alone? Where will he get medicine? M. Yes, alone. He will get it at Alambazar. Master to M. Tell the nurse what to do if the illness takes a turn for the worse or if the patient feels better. And yes, sir. The ladies mentioned before saluted the master and were about to take their leave. Sri Ramakrishna again said to them, "Perform the Shiva Puja according to my instruction and have something to eat before you come here. Otherwise, I shall feel unhappy come another day." Sri Ramakrishna sat down on the porch west of his room. Narendra Banerjee, Hari, M, and others sat by his side. The master knew about Narendra's family difficulties. "Master, you see, all these sufferings are because of a piece of loin cloth. A man takes a wife and begets children. Therefore, he must secure his job. The sadhu is worried about his loin cloth and the householder about his wife. Further, the householder may not live on good terms with his relatives, so he must live separately with his wife." With a laugh, Chaitanya once said to Nityananda, "Listen to me, brother, a man entangled in worldliness can never be free." M to himself, perhaps the master is referring to the world of avidya. It is the world of avidya that entangles a householder. M was still living in a separate house with his wife on account of a misunderstanding with the other members of his family. Master to Banerjee, pointing to M. "He also lives in a separate house. You two will get along very well." Once two men happened to meet. One said to the other, "Who are you?" "Oh, I am away from my country," was the other's reply. The second man then asked the first, "And who are you, pray?" "Oh, I am away from my beloved," was the answer. Both were in the same plight, so they got along very well. All laughed. But one need not have any fear if one takes refuge in God. God protects his devotees. Hari, well, why does it take many people such a long time to realize him? Master, the truth is that a man does not feel restless for God unless he is finished with his enjoyments and duties. The physician says, referring to the patient, "Let a few days pass first, then a little medicine will do him good." Narada said to Rama, "Rama, you are passing your time in Ayodhya. How will Ravana be killed? You have taken this human body for that purpose alone." Rama replied, "Narada, let the right time come. Let Ravana's past actions begin to bear fruit. Then everything will be made ready for his death." Hari, why is there so much suffering in the world? Master, this world is the Leela of God. It is like a game. In this game there are joy and sorrow, virtue and vice, knowledge and ignorance, good and evil. The game cannot continue if sin and suffering are altogether eliminated from the creation. In the game of hide and seek, one must touch the granny in order to be free. But the granny is never pleased if she is touched at the very outset. It is God's wish that the play should continue for some time. Then out of 100,000 kites at best, but one or two break free. And thou dost laugh and clap thy hands, O mother, watching them. In other words, after the practice of hard spiritual discipline, one or two have the vision of God through His grace and are liberated. Then the Divine Mother claps his hands in joy and exclaims, Bravo, there they go, hurry. But this play of God is our death. Master smiling, please tell me who you are. God alone has become all this Maya, the universe, living beings, and the 24 cosmic principle. As the snake I as the snake bite and as the charmer cure. It is God Himself who has become both Vidya and Avidya. He remains deluded by the Maya of Avidya, ignorance. Again, with the help of the Guru, he is cured by the Maya of Vidya, knowledge. Ignorance, knowledge, and perfect wisdom. The Jnani says that God alone exists and is the doer, that He creates, preserves, and destroys. The Vijnani says that it is God who has become all this. After attaining Mahabhava and Prema, one realizes that nothing exists but God. Bhakti pales before Bhava. Bhava ripens into Mahabhava and a Prema. To Banerjee, do you still hear that gong-like sound at the time of meditation? Banerjee, yes sir, every day. Besides, I have visions of God's form. Do such things stop after the mind has once experienced them? Master, true, once the wood catches fire, it cannot be put out. To the devotees, he knows many things about faith. Banerjee, I have too much faith. Master, bring the women of your family with those of Balram's. Banerjee, who is Balram? Master, don't you know Balram? He lives at Bospada. Sri Ramakrishna loved guileless people. Narendra Banerjee was absolutely guileless. The master loved Niranjana because he too was without guile. Master to M, why do I ask you to see Niranjan? It is to find out if he is truly guileless. Sunday, May 25, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the cement platform that encircled the trunk of the old banyan tree in the Panchavati. Vijay, Surendra, Bhavnath, Rakhal and other devotees were present, a few of them sitting with the master on the platform, the rest on the ground below. The devotees had thought of celebrating the master's birthday, which had to be put off because of his illness. Since Sri Ramakrishna now felt much better, the devotees wanted to have the celebration that day. A woman musician, a famous singer of Kirtan, was going to entertain them with devotional songs. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. M had been looking for Sri Ramakrishna in the master's room. When he did not find him there, he went to the Panchavati and eagerly asked the devotees, where is he? He was standing right in front of the master, but in his excitement did not notice him. The devotees laughed loudly. A moment later, M saw Sri Ramakrishna and felt very much embarrassed. He prostrated himself before the master, who sat there facing the south and smiling happily. Kedar and Vijay were sitting at his left. These two devotees had had a misunderstanding recently when Kedar had cut off his connection with the Brahmosmas. Master to M with a smile. You see, I have united. You see how I have united them. The master had brought a Madhavi creeper from Vrindavan in the year 1868 and had planted it in the Panchavati. The creeper had grown big and strong. Some children were jumping and swinging from it. The master observed them and laughed. He said, "They are like young monkeys. They will not give up swinging even though they sometimes fall to the ground." Noticing that Surendra was standing before him, the master said to him affectionately, "Come up and sit with us on the platform, then you can dangle your feet comfortably." Surendra went up and took his seat. Bhavnath had his coat on. Surendra said to him, "Are you going to England?" Master, smiling, "God is our England. Now and then I used to leave off my clothes and joyfully roam about naked. Once Sambhu said to me, 'It is very comfortable to walk about naked, that's why you do it.' Once I did it myself." Surendra, on returning from the office, as I put away my coat and trousers, I say to the Divine Mother, "O Mother, how tightly you have bound me to the world." Master, there are 8 fetters with which man is bound: shame, hatred, fear, pride of caste, hesitation, the desire to conceal, and so forth. Sri Ramakrishna saying, "Mother, this is the grief that sorely grieves my heart, that even with thee for mother, and though I am wide awake, there should be robbery in my house." He continued, "In the world's busy marketplace, O Shama, thou art flying kites. High up they soar on the wind of hope, held fast by Maya's string. Their frames are human skeletons, their sails of the 3 gunas made, but all their curious workmanship is merely for ornament. Upon the kite strings thou hast rubbed the manja paste of worldliness, so as to make each straining strand all the more sharp and strong. Out of 100,000 kites at best, but 1 or 2 break free, and thou dost thou dost laugh and clap thy hands, O mother, watching them. On favoring winds, say Ramprasad, the kite set loose will speedily be borne away to the infinite across the sea of the world. Master, Maya's string means wife and children. Upon the kite strings thou hast rubbed the manja paste of worldliness. Worldliness means woman and gold. The 3 gunas. The 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, have man under their control. They are like 3 brothers. As long as sattva exists, it calls on rajas for help, and rajas can get help from tamas. The 3 gunas are so many robbers. Tamas kills and Rajas binds. Sattva no doubt releases man from his bondage, but it cannot take him to God. Vijay, smiling, "It is because Sattva too is a robber." Master, smiling, "True, Sattva cannot take man to God, but it shows him the way." Bhavna, these are wonderful words indeed. Master, yes, this is a lofty thought. Listening to these words of the Master, the devotees felt very happy. The bondage of woman and gold. Master, woman and gold is the cause of bondage. Woman and gold alone constitutes sansara, the world. It is woman and gold that keeps one from seeing God. Holding the towel in front of his face, "Do you see my face anymore?" Of course not. The towel hides it. No sooner is the covering of woman and gold removed than one attains Chidanancha, consciousness and bliss, corrupting the influence of lust. Let me tell you something. He who has renounced the pleasure of a wife has verily renounced the pleasure of the world. God is very near to such a person. The devotees listened to these words in silence. Master to Kedar, Vijay, and other devotees. He who has renounced the pleasure of a wife has verily renounced the pleasure of the world. It is woman and gold that hides God. You people have such imposing moustaches, and yet you two are involved in women and gold. Tell me if it is not true. Search your heart and answer me. Vijay, yes, it is true. Kedar remained silent. Master, I see that all are under the control of women. One day I went to Captain's house. From there I was to go to Ram's house. So I said to Captain, please give me my carriage hire. He asked his wife about it. She too held back and said, what is the matter? What is the matter? At last Captain said, Ram will take care of it. You see, the Gita, the Bhagavata, and the Vedanta all bow before a woman, all love. A man leaves his money, his property, and everything in the hands of his wife. But he says with affected simplicity, I have such a nature that I cannot keep even 2 rupees with me. A man went to an office in search of a job. There were many vacancies, but the manager did not grant his request. A friend said to the applicant, appeal to Golapi and you will get the job. Golapi was the manager's mistress. Men do not realize how far they are dragged down by women. Once I went to the fort in a carriage, feeling all the while that I was going along a level road. At last I found that I had gone 4 stories down. It was a sloping road. A man possessed by a ghost does not know he is under the ghost control. He thinks he is quite normal, Vijay smiling, but he can be cured by an exorcist, exorcist if he finds one. In answer to Vijay, Sri Ramakrishna only said, that depends on the will of God. Then he went on with his talk about women. Master, everyone I talk to says, yes, sir, my wife is good. Nobody says that his wife is bad. All laugh. Those who constantly live with women and gold are so infatuated with it that they don't see things properly. Chess players oftentimes cannot see the right move for their pieces on the board, but those who watch the game from a distance can understand the moves more accurately. Woman is the embodiment of Maya. In the course of his hymen to Rama, Narada said, O Rama, all men are parts of thee, all women are parts of Sita, the personification of thy Maya. Please deign to grant that I may have pure love for thy lotus feet and that I may not be deluded by thy world bewitching Maya. I do not want any other favor than that. Surendra's younger brother and his nephews were present. The brother worked in an office and one of the nephews was studying law. Master to Surendra's relatives, my advice to you is not to become attached to the world. You see, Rakhal now understands what is knowledge and what is ignorance. He can discriminate between the real and the unreal. So I say to him, go home, you may come here once in a while and spend a day or two with me. Have a friendly relationship with one another. That will be for your good and make you all happy. In a theater, the performance goes well only if the musicians sing with one voice and that also gladdens the hearts of the audience. Do your worldly duties with a part of your mind and direct most of it to God. A sadhu should think of God with 3/4 of his mind and with 1/4 should do his other duties. He should be very alert about spiritual things. The snake is very sensitive in its tail. Its whole body reacts when it is hurt there. Similarly, the whole life of a sadhu is affected when his spirituality is touched. Sri Ramakrishna was going to the pine grove and asked Gopal of Sindhi to take his umbrella to his room. Arrangements had been made in the Panchavati for the Kirtan. When the Mr. had returned and taken his seat again among the devotees. The musician began her song. Suddenly, there came a rainstorm. The master went back to his room with the devotees, the musician accompanying them to continue her songs there. Master to Gopal, have you brought the umbrella? Gopal, no sir, I forgot all about it while listening to the music. The umbrella had been left in the Panchavati and Gopal hurried to fetch it. Master, I am generally careless but not to that extent. Rakhal also is very careless. Referring to the date of an invitation, he says the 11th instead of the 13th, and Gopal, he belongs in a herd of cows. The musician sang a song about the monastic life of Chaitanya. Now and then she improvised lines. He will not look upon a woman, for that is against the sannyasi's duty. Eager to take away man's sorrows, he will not look upon a woman, for the Lord's birth as Sri Chaitanya otherwise would be in vain. The master stood up as he heard about Chaitanya's renunciation and went into samadhi. The devotees put garlands of flowers around his neck. Bhavnath and Rakhal supported his body lest he should fall on the ground. Vijay, Kedar, Ram, M, Latu, and other devotees stood around him in a circle, recalling one of the scenes of Chaitanya's Kirtan. The master gradually came down to the sense plane. He was talking to Krishna now and then, uttering the word Krishna. He could not say it very distinctly because of the intensity of his spiritual emotion. He said, Krishna, 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 Satchitananda. Nowadays I do not see your form. Now I see you both inside me and outside. I see that it is you who have become the universe, all living beings, the 24 cosmic principles and everything else. You alone have become mind, intelligence, everything. It is said in the hymen of salutation to the Guru. I bow down to the Guru by whose grace I have realized him who pervades the invisible universe of the animate and the inanimate. You alone are the indivisible. Again, it is you who pervades the universe of the animate and the inanimate. You are verily the manifold universe. Again, you alone are its basis. O Krishna, you are my life. O Krishna, you are my mind. O Krishna, you are my intelligence. O Krishna, you are my soul. O Govinda, you are my life breath. You are my life itself. Vijay was also in an ecstatic mood. The master asked him, my dear sir, have you too become unconscious? No, sir, said Vijay humbly. The music went on. The musician was singing about the blinding love of God as he improvised the lines, O beloved of my soul, within the chamber of my heart, I would have kept you day and night. The master again went into samadhi. His injured arm rested on Bhavnath's shoulder. Sri Ramakrishna partly regained outer consciousness. The musician improvised. Why should one who, for the sake, has given up everything, endure so much of suffering? The master bowed to the musician and sat down to listen to the music. Now and then he became abstracted when the musician stopped singing. Sri Ramakrishna began to talk to the devotees, Prema, Master, to Vijay and others. What is Prema? He who feels it, this intense and ecstatic love of God, not only forgets the world but forgets even the body which is so dear to all. Chaitanya experienced it. The master explained this to the devotees by singing a song describing the ecstatic state of prema. Oh, when will dawn the blessed day, when tears of joy will flow from my eyes, As I repeat Lord Hari's name, the master began to dance and the devotees joined him. He caught M by the arm and dragged him into the circle. Thus dancing, Sri Ramakrishna again went into Samadhi. Standing transfixed, he looked like a picture on canvas. Kedar repeated the following hymn to bring his mind down from the plane of Samadhi. We worship the Brahma consciousness in the lotus of the heart, the undifferentiated who is adored by Hari, Hara and Brahma, who is attained by yogis in the depths of their meditation, the scatterer of the fear of birth and death, the essence of knowledge and truth, the primal seed of the world. Sri Ramakrishna gradually came back to the plane of normal consciousness. He took his seat and chanted the names of God. Om Satchitananda Govinda 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 Yogamaya Bhagavata Bhakta Bhagavan. The master took dust from the place where the kirtan had been sung and touched it to his forehead. A little later, Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the semicircular porch facing the Ganges. The devotee sitting by his side now and then the master would exclaim, Ah, Krishna Chaitanya, Master to Vijay and the others. There has been much chanting of the Lord's name in the room. That is why the atmosphere has become so intense. Bhavnath. Words of renunciation too. The master said, Oh, how thrilling. Then he sang about Gauranga and Nityananda. Gaura bestows the nectar of prema. Jar after jar he pours it out, and still there is no end. Sweetest Nitai is summoning all. Beloved Gora bids them come. Shantipur is almost drowned, and Nadia is flooded with prema. Strict rules for sannyasis life. Master to Vijay and others. The musician sang rightly, a sannyasi must not look at a woman. This is the sannyasi's dharma. What is a lofty idea? Vijay. Yes, indeed, sir. Master, others learn from the sannyasi's example. That's why such strict rules are prescribed for him. A sannyasi must not look even at the portrait of a woman. What a strict rule! The slaughtering of a black goat is prescribed for the worship of the Divine Mother, but a goat with even a slight wound cannot be offered. A sannyasi must not only not have intercourse with women, he must not even talk to her. Vijay, young Haridas talked with a pious woman. For that reason, Chaitanya banished him from his presence. Master, a sannyasi associated with women and gold is like a beautiful damsel with a bad odor. The odor makes her beauty useless. Once a Marwadi devotee wanted to give me some money. Mathur wanted to deed me some land, but I could not accept either. The rules for the life of a sannyasi are very strict indeed. If a man takes the garb of a sannyasi, he must act exactly like one. Have not you noticed in the theatre that the man who takes the part of the king acts like a king, and the man who takes the part of a minister acts like a minister? But on attaining the state of the Paramahamsa, one becomes like a child. A child 5 years old does not know the difference between a man and a woman. But even a Paramahamsa must be careful so as not to set bad examples to others. Referring to Kesav's association with women and gold, which had hindered his work as a spiritual teacher, Sri Ramakrishna said to Vijay, he do you understand? Vijay, yes sir, master. He could not achieve very much because he wanted to satisfy both God and the world. Vijay, Chaitanya said to Nityananda, Nitai, I shall not be able to do the people any good unless I renounce the world. All will imitate me and want to lead the life of a householder. No one will try to direct his whole mind to the lotus feet of God, so renouncing women and gold. Master, yes, Chaitanya Deva renounced the world to set an example to mankind. The sannyasi is a world teacher. The sannyasi must renounce woman and gold for his own welfare, even if he is unattached and consequently not in danger. Still, in order to set an example to others, he must not keep woman and gold near him. The sannyasi, the man of renunciation, is a world teacher. It is his example that awakens the spiritual consciousness of man. It was nearly dusk. The devotees saluted the master and took their leave. So at this point I conclude this video. Next video number 24 will start with chapter number 23, Festival at Surendra's house, Sunday, June 15, 1884. Thank you for watching this video. Namaskar dear friends. Thank you. Namaste.